Hello and welcome back to ERU, where we round up the biggest talking points and results from around the continent. Slightly delayed start for myself and McCubs. My tech wasn't working, but I actually then blame McCubbin and Paul McCubbin. So we've been a bit of animosity kicking off today's ERU, but I'm very apologetic. But McCubs, let's kick off on brighter notes with Alexis Sanchez, who is our winner, at the suggestion of @DynamiteInter88.
Indeed, yeah. Alexis Sanchez came off the bench to help Inter Milan to a comfortable 3-0 win away in the end at Genoa. Moved them back up into second place, just 1 point ahead of Atalanta. The 31-year-old continued his fantastic recent form since lockdown. Grabbed the second goal, either side of a fantastic Lukaku brace. That takes him to 4 goals and 8 assists in 20 league games this season, just 9 starts. So after what was quite a slow beginning to his Inter career, a lot of us really wrote him off, to be honest. He's proves a lot of the doubters wrong with such a strong return in the second half of the campaign. And yeah, his performances since the restart have just been exceptional. 3 goals, 7 assists in 12 games, 2 or more goal contributions in 3 of those matches. So he's been a real match winner as well. This has obviously ignited talk about his future. Some have speculated that he could now return to the fold at United. However, Sky Sports News reported last week that United aren't looking to extend the loans for either Smalling or Sanchez in Italy. This means they'll either return to United or be sold permanently. Siempre Inter claim United are looking for around 20 million euros for Sanchez. I know we've been looking at these rumours a little bit in the last week as well, but the Nerazzurri would prefer a player swap, which would involve Ivan Perisic apparently, who has contributed 7 Bully goals in 22 games on loan at Bayern this campaign. Obviously Perisic was a target for United back in the Jose Mourinho days, and I guess could perhaps be used on the right if United fail to land Sancho, one of their other targets, or could be a squad player. So I mean, there is something in that, bit of a like for like, isn't it? And considering Sanchez's struggles at Old Trafford, maybe Solskjaer would be willing to take a bit of a gamble on Perisic. But if Sanchez could replicate his San Siro form back at Old Trafford, United really would be regaining an asset. He's currently averaging 2.4 shots, 3.4 key passes and 2.1 dribbles, while operating at 0.87 expected goals and assists per 90. That's the best numbers of his career, and obviously it's quite a short sample size, I guess, considering the kind of lack of game time he's had this season. However, that is super impressive. 3.4 key passes is way more than anyone at Man United. But do you think United should be looking to bring him back?
No, I probably wouldn't say so. I'm really pleased for Alexis Sanchez because he did become a bit of a laughing stock in the last 18 months or so, particularly during his time at United, but has rediscovered some of that form. But it feels like United are going in a pretty different direction. Do they want to bring back a 31-year-old? I think if you can get any fee for Sanchez, that'd be great. I mean, 20 million euros and get him off the wage bill, crucially as well, because his wages are extortionate. I think it's close to £400,000 a week. As for Perisic coming in for him, I like Ivan Perisic, but again, it's a similar story. United should be looking to the future. Sancho, Berardi, if they can't get him. Maybe even target someone like Son Heung-min or someone like that. But yeah, definitely don't be targeting people in the over 30 age bracket. But this game wasn't just about Sanchez. It was a pretty comprehensive team display, with XG having it at 2.1 to 0.4 in the Nerazzurri's favour. And Lukaku, another ex-United man, was also excellent. Completed 88% of his passes, which is truly elite for a striker. A 1 dribble, 2 key passes, and fired off 3 shots, which led to 2 goals, the second of which well worth a watch. He sort of slaloms between 2 defenders from about 40 yards out. The defending is pretty woeful, but ruthless efficiency, as we've seen from Lukaku all season. I mean, magnificent debut campaign. 23 league goals, which is only topped by Ciro Immobile and Ronaldo, and 29 goals in 45 games in all competitions, which tops his previous best in a single season of 27 for United back in 17-18, when he truly was the darling of Old Trafford along with David De Gea that campaign. For Genoa though, this was just their second loss in 4 games, with 3 wins in 4 before that, and that form really has sort of secured safety. They're 4 points clear of Lecce, who lost 3-2 to Bologna with 2 games to go, so they should be safe. But their best player was probably 22-year-old centre-back Cristiano Romero, on loan from Juventus, of course. He completed 91% of his passes, put in 6 tackles and interceptions, won 2 aerial duels, but admittedly there wasn't much choice for Genoa. For Inter though, Ranocchia also played a great game at the centre of their 3-man defence. 5 tackles and interceptions, 9 aerial duels won, 2 dribbles, 1 shot. Inter will probably be disappointed that the scoreline wasn't even more emphatic. I think Borja Vallejo missed a great chance. They sort of butchered a number of promising counter-attack opportunities as well. And they've got 2 tough games coming up as well against Napoli and Atalanta, wrapping up their season as they look to secure second place. So with all the turmoil surrounding Inter in the last month or so, with Skriniar and Conte supposedly in a bit of a bust-up, Conte rumoured to be unhappy with the board, this is a pretty comprehensive result and hopefully takes them one step closer to second place for the Nerazzurri, because I think on the balance of play across the entire season they probably have been the best side. I know Atalanta have had a phenomenal 2020 in particular, but we can't really begrudge Inter for finishing in second. But Nerazzurri fans, we want to hear from you guys. Would you be happy with second place, and where do you want to improve this summer, and what do you make of the Skriniar situation as well? Get your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's move on to our loser.
Before we move on to our loser, everyone, just a quick reminder too, if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to Eurofootball Daily. What are you doing if you're not subscribed? And of course, hit that notification bell as well, so you never miss another great video like this one. We put them out every single day. And here's a little message as well from our very own Patrick Van Straten about our brand new channel.
Hello, it's Patrick Van Straten, just letting you know about our new podcast channel, Football Daily Podcasts. From now on, the Extra Time podcast will be going live over on that channel every week, and it will not be alone. We'll be premiering a European football podcast very soon, headed up by our very own Dougie Critchley. So head over to Football Daily Podcasts if you want to check out the podcast in video form. And of course, you can still get it as an audio download on your favourite podcast app. We hope to see you there.
Thanks for that, Pato. But we now move on to our loser for the weekend. It's Sampdoria, coming from @CR7 Goatee Boy. Why is that, Dukes?
Well, it's a little harsh, of course. Sampdoria don't really deserve to be in our losers on their performance, but we had to talk about Juventus. So Sampdoria lost 2-0 to Juventus in Turin to hand the old lady their 9th successive titles with goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Bernardeschi. The Blucher Giatti brought a lot to the contest. Despite having just 37% of the ball, they fired off 14 shots with 5 on target to Juve's 16 and 7. But it was still a pretty comfortable victory for Juve. XG had it at 3.5 to 1.1. It continues Samp's sort of inconsistent form since the restart. So they played 11 games, they've won 5 and lost 6. So no draws in that at all. It's all or nothing with Samp at the moment. They've scored 18, which is phenomenal, but conceded 16. So they're, putting out some really entertaining games, very unlike a Claudio Ranieri side. And they sit 15th with 2 games to go. They're safe already. They're 9 points clear of relegation. But that would actually be their lowest finish since the 15-16 season, when they went through 2 managers and finished 15th as well. But back then it was a lot tighter. They were just 2 points clear of relegation that year. But this was all about Juve, really, who became the first team to win 9 consecutive titles in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. Juve had, of course, missed the chance to seal it last Thursday when they lost 2-1 away at Udinese. But despite some shaky moments, with some pretty good opportunities for Gaston Ramirez in particular from a few crosses, it was pretty comfortable, particularly after Samp's Norwegian midfielder Morten Thorsby was sent off in the second half for a second yellow card after 77 minutes. Juve now have 36 top-flight titles, a record in Europe's top 5 leagues, 2 ahead of current La Liga champions Real Madrid, so well done to them. But McCubs, who were the standout performers in this game?
Yeah, well, of course, you mentioned Federico Bernardeschi. Obviously, he came on as a substitute for Danilo after 29 minutes, and that kind of saw the side change around a little bit. Cuadrado then moved back to right back, which he has excelled in this season. But yeah, a performance that Bernardeschi needed. 4 shots, grabbed his first Serie A goal of the season. That's in 27 appearances. It's been a pretty dull season for him otherwise. Following up after Ordero spilled that Ronaldo shot. Pjanic also created 4 chances and laid on that clever assist from the free kick for Ronaldo. I guess a good way for him to be ending the season as well after a fairly disappointing campaign for him, and I guess kind of showing Barcelona a little bit of the ingenuity that they can look forward to next season. The main man was, though, Cristiano Ronaldo. Didn't complete any dribbles, but created 2 chances, had 7 shots, and of course scored that excellent goal from the edge of the area. That's his 10th goal since football restarted. That's more than any other player in Europe, bringing his tally to 31 goals in 32 games. He's just 3 behind Immobile. Could have been even closer if he didn't miss that penalty that blasted against the bar in the second half. He has also matched former World Cup winner Felice Barral, who was the last Bianconeri player to score 31 league goals for Juve, and that was all the way back in the 1933-34 season. Nearly 100 years that is in the making. Which is, we were discussing this off camera, that's pretty crazy that no Juve player has scored more in a campaign, considering they are the most dominant side in Italian football history, or at least in Serie A history.
And the quality of strikers they've had as well. I mean, Del Piero, Trezeguet, of course, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, even Higuain, I guess, who did score more in a Napoli shirt. You'll have to correct me on that if I'm wrong in the comments. But anyway, even if Juve win both those games, though, they can only finish with 89 points. That's their lowest tally since 2014-15. But hats off to Sarri for winning his first league title too. Apparently in the dressing room after the game, he was very self-deprecating, saying to the players that they must be good if they can win the title under him. So yet more charm to go with his, that adorable thing of him looking at the medal last year after the Europa League final. But after their 2 league games, of course, Juve will need to turn their attention to the Champions League. Very difficult second leg clash against Lyon. They lost 1-0 in that first leg. I can't even remember really what happened, and it was so long ago. A real weird dynamic to those second leg clashes, especially this one. Especially considering Lyon will have just played that Coupe de France final. That'll be their first competitive game in what, nearly 6 months, I guess. So yeah, let us know in the comments below. Do you reckon Juve will overturn that 1-0 deficit? I think they probably will, but it will be a tough game nonetheless. Also, shout out as well to Yoshida, who's been on loan at Sampdoria this season. Pulled out one of the best goal line clearances I've ever seen in this game. Just thought I should mention that. Real acrobatic stuff. But yeah, what do you reckon about Juve's season? What do you reckon about Ronaldo's season? Let us know in the comments below, and let's move on to our final section.
So for our final section, as we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, just Serie A in action. So we didn't pick out a star of the week. We're instead looking at a bit of transfer gossip that we found quite interesting. And we're putting Lille under the microscope, McCubs. Why is that? Yeah.
Well, obviously, there's not been much action in France in the last few months. Obviously, aside from that Coupe de la Ligue final on, was it Saturday? Hope Mbappe gets well soon, because that looked pretty
horrible
nasty. Real worries that he's going to be out of the Champions League. I think the first assessment, only said like 2 weeks he might be out, but that's only the first assessment. So I think it could be worse, but we'll wait and see on that. But yeah, Lille, who were 4th on the table when Ligue 1 was suspended, they're now set to lose their star man and Victor Osimhen. Going to Napoli, that's expected to be completed in the coming days for €60 million, a little bit less than the 81 million which I was seeing banded around a couple of weeks ago, but still pretty amazing business considering they only got him in last summer as a replacement for Rafael Leao, who they also sold for a decent profit. So once again, Lille really making profit out of kind of previously unfancied stars, I guess. Victor Osimhen obviously had a lot of injury problems in the early stages of his career, but I digress, because they're looking at a bit of a surprising replacement for him. Rangers Alfredo Morelos, 24-year-old striker, capped 7 times by Colombia, has been a bit of a revelation, to be fair, since his £1 million move from Finland in 2017. 77 goals in 137 games for the Gers. That's a pretty excellent return. Obviously, you could argue, obviously, the Scottish top flight is not on the level of League 1. But Dougie, what do you reckon? What kind of qualities do you reckon he could bring?
Well, he's very combative, to put it nicely. He really puts himself about, and he does seem like an excellent finisher as well. I mean, he's finished as the club's top scorer for each of the 3 campaigns that he's been in Scotland. But he is known, as everyone knows, as a bit of a hothead, with 14 yellow cards and 6 red cards in 82 Scottish Premiership games. That works out as a red card every 13.7 league games, which is just a bit of a liability. According to the BBC, Lille have held talks with Morelos, but no bid has been made as of yet. But one man who does look set to be leaving Osimhen on the departure gate out of Lille is 22-year-old centre-back Gabriel. So it's all happening in Lille. The former Brazil under-20 international has been a bit of a revelation this season. First year playing regularly in the top flight. He's appeared in 24 out of their 28 Ligue 1 games, completing 2.7 tackles and interceptions per 90 with an 86% completion rate. Now that is really outstanding. Anything above 70 is really pretty solid. So 86%, coming away with the ball 86% of the time when you go in for it is really pretty special. And 65% of his aerial duels as well. Now he's been linked with Everton and Arsenal for weeks, but the Mail, obviously not the most reliable source, and ESPN are claiming that Man United are now also interested as well. I mean, McCubs, Man United is potentially interesting because Lindelof does have his detractors, as does your sort of options at left back. But Lindelof put in a pretty good display yesterday against Leicester in that Champions League ceiling win. I mean, would you want to see an upgrade come in for centre back, or would you target other areas if you're Ed Woodward?
Yeah, I mean, I think centre back is always an area that well, I mean, for United that has always needed upgrading in seasons past. I think Lindelof did put in a good performance yesterday, but it came up against a Leicester side which looked quite limp at points, to be honest, or at least weren't particularly penetrative. Probably down to a good defensive display for sure. But there have been points this season where there's areas of his game where he's not been so good, particularly in the air. I think Maguire has kind of helped, dug him out on a couple of occasions. So I think there's definitely room for improvement there. And I think where United could really achieve some real depth is in centre back, because as we say, Lindelof would be a marvellous squad player to have. And so getting in an upgrade there is maybe one of the easier things, actually, because you're not necessarily putting out someone who should be a first team regular in the way that, say, getting another attacking midfielder would suddenly be a bit of a problem for Bruno, which I know people are still calling for Jack Grealish, which I'm not really a fan of. So yeah, I think centre back could be an area to improve, but again, I don't think it's something where United should necessarily be breaking the bank. And considering that there are a few clubs in for Gabriel, and I think there's interest from Italy as well, I could see that being a situation where maybe Lille are starting to ask for quite a lot, especially considering that they've already selling Osimhen this summer. They can probably afford to hold out for quite a big fee. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I wouldn't necessarily say that Gabriel is maybe the best player to go for, although at his age, he's a pretty good profile of player for United to be targeting. But yeah, I think it kind of depends on the price. I don't think United can really afford to spend more than 40 or 50 million on a defender at the very most this summer.
Absolutely, especially with having, it looks like Eric Bailly was a slight overpayment. Lindelof was maybe a slight overpayment as well. Maguire certainly was an overpayment. So maybe it's just the nature of being Man United, but it seems like it's quite difficult to get players at their true worth if you are Man United. And obviously, their main target, as we've been reporting for months now, it feels like years now, is obviously Jadon Sancho as well. So we'll see what happens at centre-back and maybe in defensive midfield and possibly left-back this summer for United. But Lille fans, we want to hear from you. How upset are you about losing Osimhen? Do you think Gabriel has the potential to go right to the top in the game? We want to hear from you. Get in the comments down below. And that's all we've got time for on ERU for this week. Thank you very much to McCubs for joining me on this show. And McCubs, what should they go and do now?
They should go and check out the Football Pyramid from Saturday. It was myself versus Joe Tomlinson, a real classic clash. Came down to the wire, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, just, go and check out that. Go and check out the video we put out about Bruno Fernandes yesterday on Football Daily, and yeah, just keep watching us, really. That would be nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, watch all our 3 channels, and yeah, go and enjoy the Football Pyramid. It can't be an episode without some controversy from Joe Tomlinson.
Yes.
He is the Jurgen Klopp of YouTube. Cannot take losing. There's always some conspiracy going on. But yeah, go and check that out, and go check out Friday's Continental Club as well. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.